dance next Saturday, February the 4th. And we want all the young people to go to it because a Student for Life woman who just graduated from George Mason, so she's young, she's a millennial, she can relate to that, and she's going to share the pro-life message or, however it is, compassion, not just about the baby, but about the woman too.
Thank you. So they're going to take a group of kids and go to.
We at All Saints we're very excited about the life curriculum we heard about earlier, and we want to get a set and try it out. And the life discipleship, I believe it was.
Wonderful. So you're going to, oh, there we are.
It's Michaela.
Michaela.
All right. So, I don't really like talking in front of people, but I'll do it right now. So, basically, the summit was kind of important to me because previously I didn't really have cemented my reasons for being pro-life in my faith. And this kind of like turned it around, and I found a lot more reasons, like why Christ is against abortion and why it's important to be pro-life. For those reasons, and I also really appreciated the workshop I went to. I found a lot of resources to help others that I had never heard of before, and I really appreciated that.
Thank you.
My wife Elaine are from Williamsburg, and this is our first trip to a March for Life. And I'd like to thank Kurt Dillinger because he said something in his talk that turned the light bulb on with me because my wife and I think she would agree with me, don't normally wade into crowds of 500,000 or more. And but he said that, and I think he said many men, but I think it applies to men and women. We, I don't want to misrepresent what he said. He said, many have the issue correct in their heads, but not in their hearts and souls. And I think that's where I've been for so many years about that. I've always been against abortion, but I've never stepped out and taken any action. So I think I'd like to go back to our little parish and find out how many other men and women, have that same thing going on. They can talk about it, in the safety of their home or with their friends, but they don't really get out and do anything. So get it from out of your head and into your heart and soul. That's what I'm taking back with me. Thank you.
Go here first.
I just want to express my appreciation for the Finishing Life God's Way. My father is 87, and it's been hard to get him focused on talking about these issues. But more importantly, my siblings that are there living closer, who would probably be the first step in making decisions if he couldn't. And I've been actively trying to educate others in my family that there are some dangers to just doing what they give you to sign. So I really appreciate that.
Great. Thank you. Ma'am?
Barb Stigler from Williamsburg also. And I guess in your workshop, Georgette, you talked about the resources for women who have been silent. And in our little congregation, a couple of women have come up to me and shared that
I was particularly influenced, I guess is the word, by the strategic planning workshop, because we are fairly new, a year old in our church, are having a pro-life ministry. And we are doing some things right now, well, one thing particularly, but it was good to think what other things can we do. First of all, to remember that promoting pro-life is about supporting women who choose to keep their babies and about babies being born and not killed, right? So that's the whole, that's the product, if you will, of why we're doing this, and we have to keep that in mind. But you can still come up with ideas. How can your church do that? How can it support women who choose to keep their children, their babies. How can you support the lives of those babies, or the fact that they could be born? And this particular workshop presented a wonderful way of doing just that by brainstorming ideas of what your church can do and running them through a matrix which shows what's doable and what's not so doable and what's reasonable and so forth, and what kind of, depending on the resources you have and so forth. And that's what I'm hoping that I will be able to take back to my church.
Thank you. That's great.
Just so many takeaways from the day, and thank you for all those who prepared and put together this wonderful day. Just a really quick thing that we shared here at the table was just the idea of having an on-ramp into, for those who find themselves, the guys and the girls who find themselves having participated in an unwanted pregnancy, just having it somewhere visible so that those people will know. And it doesn't have to be like a separate ministry that you start. It could be your women's group might be willing to be the people that they talk to. You might have a Stephen ministry already in your church. They might be willing to, just to connect. But it's got to be posted somewhere so that the couple that finds himself in that situation knows, I can come out with this information and I can get help here and be not be just completely cast aside and not have to leave the church. But just the idea of having an on-ramp, asking yourself the question, do we have an on-ramp for this ministry that somebody could easily find? So,
Thank you. That's great. Isn't that wonderful that they were able to work this into their curriculum so that